the grades right now reflect the old school, like the last generation's opinions on how hard things are, which simply do not apply to the current generation with their comp background. If the current generation went out and established these boulders, the grades would be like flip-flopped in a lot of places, just because the style of training has done a complete 180 from when the past generation was growing up. So I think it's hard to reflect that in grades. It's almost impossible, actually.
That's how it is.
Like, they just climb in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really know the solution. But
we were saying about knowing Morange is like 100% the case. Hamish was saying that it's like exactly his style in every way. It's like pretty comfy grips, like big movements between, pretty good holds. Yeah, it's so comp style, but it's also just so catered to him to where it's almost unfair for him to grade the boulder. And it says more about our culture that we like expect him to give like some sort of accurate grade for the boulder than for him itself. Yeah, for him.
All right, Wheeler Brothers back on the Testpiece pod. How's it going, guys?
Very good. Well,
do you think everyone knows when to say Wheeler? Should I say like Noah Wheeler, Ben Wheeler?
No, I think
you're good.
Oh, okay. I'll beep that out. You guys will be like, just kind of like you got.
Don't have our names. Do not include our names at all. Wheeler 1 and Wheeler 2.
Wheel Rock, also known as Wheeler Brothers. You guys kind of made that official. I feel like it's like up and going. There's a Patreon. There's a YouTube. Congrats.
It is actually officially LLC, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, I made an LLC.
Yeah. So it really is official.
Future endeavors, really. Yeah.
Did it cost more to make the LLC than you guys get in income from it? Is that how?
Definitely not. Definitely not. We try to make it to where like everything we make we put, or like we only bought a camera once we made like $500 from revenue or whatever, like we try to use what we make. So
nice. See, you guys all listen, you hear that? Every dollar that goes into Wheel Rock goes into just higher quality content.
We strive for high quality. Good pixels. Good pixels.
If they want a better camera, they'll have to give us more money.
Join our Patreon if you want good video quality.
I'm totally just shilling you guys. This was not planned, but tell me more about like, what's the goal? Is this like a new way to be kind of a pro? Like, who were you inspired by? Like, where'd the idea come from?
I started out just like sophomore year. I did Cosmogram in like Pewter Canyon, and I think it was like horizontal camera, and I was like, I don't really want to put this on Instagram. Like, maybe what if I just like start a YouTube channel to like post like little edits I make? And so it started out just like making like little edits of outdoor climbs, and then Ben, I actually called Ben like because I figured it'd make sense if we had a YouTube channel together, because we used to have an Instagram together where we would post like send footy like that we wouldn't post in our main. And so Ben came up with the name actually, because it took like we like spent like 30 minutes like workshopping it, and I was like, that has to be the name when he said it. So
I made the original Wheel Rock logo. I screenshotted Wheel Rock, and I went on Instagram and I put I wrote on Snapchat. I wrote wheel, like scribbled over it, and that's still our Instagram. So yeah, it just came to me.
It will be forever. Yeah. But anyways, then we went to Pennsylvania, and like we started like videoing like more like vlog style stuff, and it kind of like evolved from there. And then
do you guys think that you're going to get like a cease and desist now from Real Rock now that you guys have an LLC? I had Josh Lowell on the pod. You guys see that? Wait, you guys must know him from back east, right?
I don't think I've met him.
I think we've like texted on Instagram before a tiny bit. Like he went to Colorado College. He went to the same college that we went to. So I think it's probably chill. I think and parody law anyways,
Yeah, we're alumni, man. Come on,
you
can't. Don't sue us, man. Come on. Yeah, bro. We went to the same school.
You'll probably end up on Real Rock at some point, so maybe it'll all work out. You guys have some good story. Let's see, you guys. Last podcast with you two, number 109. It was like a freaking year ago. It's been a big year. It's been a big year for climbing, but been a big year for you guys. You now have an LLC. You're making literally dozens of dollars. and it's all just literally. Well, Noah, you graduated, which I feel like I'm supposed to, everyone's like, congrats, Noah, you graduated. But I was thinking about it, and everyone graduates. People graduate all the time, but you climbed 2 V17s this year. So I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to congratulate you about graduating, but I don't really care, man. Congrats on the 2 V17s. Good job.
Thank you. That
was big.
This is good. This is a good lesson to all the listeners. Education does not matter. It's about how hard you climb.
Always, do that gym stash over attending class for sure.
Oh man, I just realized your mom definitely listens to the podcast, and so I'm going to get an angry message from. But actually, no, you did it right. You graduated. Congrats, and you did the V17.
I almost never missed class either. I think I missed like one class ever.
So Ben, are you going to drop out now based on that information you just shared, or are you?
Yeah, Josh from Testpiece told me that that he doesn't care about me graduating, so I'm out. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, well, now that you're again making literally dozens of dollars on rock,
literally dozens of them.
We're breaking even on gas money now.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are both living in Colorado. I want to say, I don't know if you had just moved there, Ben, but you guys are in Colorado right now. But no, you spent a ton of time in Red Rocks over the winter in Las Vegas, Nevada. And like, did you go to school? Like, how'd you do that, man? Like,
yeah. So, we had like a month break for winter break. So yeah, for winter break, my only goal was like return to the Sleepwalker. So I spent that month trying that, but then I sent in like 2 days this year. So I just put all the rest of the time into Shaolin. So I put in like 6 sessions in then. And then our school does like month by month individual classes. So we take one class at a time for like 3.5 weeks. So I spent the next month in class, and then I just had enough credits to where I could like take a month off where I didn't need to have a class. So I just like took that month off to do Shaolin. It worked out pretty well. Yeah.
wait, did you send in 2 sessions? You sent return in 2 sessions? I thought you like sieged it. I thought you were projecting. I thought like.
Oh, I did, but that was last year. 2 sessions this year. Yeah. No, I actually took a block off or like a month off last year to try return as well. But I was like alone in a B&B for like a month. It was gnarly. Way better headspace this time around.
Was that your first super long-term project?
Yeah, for sure.
What was that like? Like, are you psyched on the projecting process? Is like, what kind of switch got flipped that you're like, oh, I'm going to dig into this one?
I don't know. It felt just like the natural thing to do. I don't know. Like once I did Sleepwalker like kind of quick, I immediately started trying the sit, and I did the moves, or I did it like the sit link in like maybe 2 days or 1 day. And I was like, well, I guess if I can do 17, which I never thought I'd be able to do, like, I'll try, that would be sick. But it always felt like it would be surreal to like do it, but like I felt close, but I always felt like doing it was such a big jump, even if I felt close to doing it, just because it's so, it's just surreal to like think about doing a 17. But I don't know. It just felt natural to like go into that process.
When I talked to Simone Lorenzi, who you probably bumped into out there because he sieged it. Psyched to see him do it. By the way, good job, Simone. Something he said about Sleepwalker, Return, the Sleepwalker, is that he was like, dude, like all the moves go, but it's really long and there's no big trick to unlock. And he felt like he was just banging his head against it. And clearly it worked. Was that similar to you, where it's just kind of like you need the fitness, like you need to have the strength and the fitness to actually get it done, or was that just for him and like some other key kind of unlocked it for you?
I mean, last year it was just like banging my head against the wall. Like I was falling at the last, maybe like V10 or V9 throw move, the left throw move to like the pinch. Like I fell there like 6 times in one session, one time, and there were like 5 sessions where I was falling there. And I'd been there with like Will Bosey for the last maybe session or 2 where he did it. And I wasn't there when he did it, but I was there the day before he did it. And he got to that throw move maybe like 2 sessions or 3 sessions before he set. And so I expected the same thing. And he told me, he was like, yeah, like you're going to do it soon, And the fact that I was just like falling there, like as my it became my crux. Like that got to me mentally big time, just because like of Will's experience with it as well. And I think it was like ultimately like I could have done it then. I had the physicality to do it, but I think I was just not. I simply just wasn't as strong as I was this year, and I came back this year and it felt pretty chill, honestly. I just had that like it was all about the margins. I just had way more margin this time around. Yeah, I just had more when I got there. My fingers were stronger. It was just everything, and the mental, obviously, better mental space. So
Yeah, Ben, what did you see when you saw like Noah dig into project mode? Is that something you guys have ever done as a team, or you guys? I mean, because when you're young on the boards and stuff, it seems like you guys just send on to the next. Even your story about your first V12, V13, V14 was like, I don't know, we just like go out and send. But what do you think about that switch to projecting?
Yeah, I thought it was really impressive. I mean, okay, to me, one thing that people don't talk about. Well, yeah,
you never told me that. Whatever.
No, but the most impressive part that people don't talk about with pro climbers that is like a real thing is like Noah like took that month off. Like all of his friends are like in school still. Like he's alone in Red Rocks. I don't know what kind of room he was in, but when I visited him in Red Rocks, he was in a windowless room. Like literally, it's a fucking box.
We all were.
Yeah, and it's windowless. It's like what the CIA puts you in to like get information out of you. Like, and he is in there for a month, and like you have to take when you're practicing that hard, you take like, one on, one off, or like even two off sometimes.
Dude, the rest days are the worst.
Yeah, and you're there for a month alone in like a solo Airbnb. Like that is the real difference, because I know Noah's strong, and I know he could do Sleepwalker or Return, but like, yeah, being able to like stay there and like stay motivated and like to have good sessions that long, and like just the mental fortitude. It's like what Daniel talks about when he did Return. Like part of it was like committing to the siege, because like literally sieging something unrelated to the physical climbing is like just something I don't think most people can do it. I can't do it. I would leave. I'd give up. Like I'd have a bad session and I'd go back to my windowless Airbnb and I'd be like, what the hell am I doing?
Cry.
Yeah. I'd be like, get me out of here.
Okay.
You punt the last move for the
exactly.
time. Go to your windowless room. Yeah.
First of all, I'm pretty sure windowless rooms are illegal. Like that's not that's like not a real bedroom.
This place was windowless. It was.
Had two beds.
Oh gosh. So Ben, that's cool to hear that you noticed that about pro climbers, because I don't know, I feel like that doesn't get talked about, that kind of like not so glamorous rest day where you're just bored. Like rest days are not fun. But something that I'm wondering, so you're the younger brother, you're still kind of on your way up, climbing hard stuff. When do you think is the right time to shift that mentality of being like, I'm going to go spend a month on whatever it is that you want to?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it is very applicable to me. I think for me, it's like personally growing up, I have like specific climbs at a specific level that I want to do, like I want to do Off the Wagon Sit, and I want to do Burden of Dreams, and I want to do, Spots of Time and the finish line. And I'm not good enough yet, I'm just not. So for me, it's like when I get strong enough and when I feel that like that would be a worthwhile like pursuit. Like I don't think if I put a month into any of those climbs, I'd do them right now. And that's, like you said on Return, like it's one thing to do it, but like you need the prerequisite like fitness and strength to do it. And I think so. Yeah, it's whenever, the climbs that you want to do, like I think that this could be wrong as well, but like my mentality is that like currently like the age I'm at is like the prime age for like physical improvement. Like I'm still getting like just stronger naturally. So like with training, like I can every year I like, can do another one arm, and like having that room to improve. Like right now I want to use this time to like improve, and I'm in college, so it's kind of hard to travel to try hard things. So like, train through college pretty much. I mean, obviously project a little, but nothing crazy. And then like, I'll hopefully get to like the V17 strength I want to be at, and then, siege the climbs I want to do after that. So that's what it is for me. Yeah.
Dude, you got all planned out. No, I'm guessing it wasn't totally planned for you. You were just like, I think I can do this thing.
My training's never been that planned either. I just follow psych. That's why I do boards anyways, you know. And like I mean Sleepwalker was never like, oh, that's, you know, when I was young I was never like, oh my God, that's like the dream climb I want to spend like, you know, 20 days on or whatever. I just went there and I thought it was cool and it just naturally evolved from there, you know. But I like for you, Ben, like I wonder like, I mean, have you never encountered a climb where you're like, you know, like maybe I could do this year if I put in like a ton of like a bunch of sessions. Like I'm gonna follow my psych right now. You know, like sometimes your psych is just strong enough. You know.
Yeah, I mean there are definitely specific like railway. I like feel that way about.
Yeah, like railway. Yeah.
And I, you know, I've tried it, but like it's hard to, you know, skin and weather. So it doesn't feel like a siege, but you know it is in a way.
I mean,
like,
it's so much easier to siege in Red Rocks for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hard.
exactly.
It's hard. Just hard to siege. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think because I climb with you, like I know, or like, you know, it could be bad, but like I see like how strong you are when you do like certain grades and certain hard climbs, and then like I know that I'm not that strong, so I like kind of wait. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like right now, like you climb V17 and I don't, and you're stronger than me on a board, but like maybe I'm about like on a board right now or in the gym, maybe I'm like close to how strong you were when you did Sleepwalker for the first time.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like I benchmark myself like
that's
that.
true, but also like you have different strengths than me. You know, like you're
No, that's true
like
too.
there's ways you can climb around the same climbs I've done
Yeah.
in different ways. You know, like
Yeah.
So this is like a weird question for you, Ben. Hopefully you don't take it the wrong way, but Noah is stronger than you, as just said, but he's also older than you. It sounds to me like you're willing to put in the effort and just get better and better. But like, I feel like it could be disheartening to see Noah do really well, but you seem to instead be like, oh dude, I got a bright future. And you recognize that you have like a lot of progress versus like, you just want it now and you want to be better now. Am I saying that in a non-dick way?
No, yeah. No, that it's completely true. People ask me a lot. Like, I think people are really, it's like a thing in all of sports is like any sports documentary, any like anything at all. There's an automatic implied narrative about like jealousy and like competitiveness, not just like competitiveness to do better yourself, but like to be better than someone, which I think doesn't necessarily, I think it's weaker in climbing than it is in other sports. And like, yeah, for me, it's like climbing is the least zero sum game in my eyes, because you look at like basketball and like when a team wins, the other team loses, you know, it is a zero sum game. But in climbing, it's like, no one else's success affects what I can do ever. You know, it's not like there's a certain number of V17 per year, and once the quota's filled, you can't climb V17 anymore. Like you can climb whatever you can climb, and especially with Noah, it's like, yeah, I think that I've just always like Noah has always been stronger than me physically. You know, like because we climb so differently, I don't take it personally like that, you know, he's better at certain things and I'm better at certain things, and that's okay, you know.
I think the reason why I find it interesting is that the way you're talking about it all is very patient. You're like, are you 19? You 20?
I just turned 20 in May. Yeah. So
Happy
I'm not
birthday.
20 now.
Okay. And just this recognition of the amount of progress that's still in front of you. To me, I just really like that, because I think when I was 20, I would just look around and be like, I want now, like I'm the best because in some ways, like you're always the best you ever have been, right? You're like, okay, I've been training. Yeah. And so it's hard to look in front of you and just be like, wow, I have a lot more to go and I can just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And so maybe it's just like, yeah, rather than being like, oh, I'm incredible right now, I like this vision you have of like, damn, I'm just going to keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I don't know if I had that when I was younger. I kind of just always felt like I was the best I'll ever be. And I wanted it now, you know?
I think that is purely because of the people that I climb with, the people I'm surrounded by, you know, like I just have such a perspective from the people I climb with of like how good you can be, and also like how like not it's not like everyone I climb with who's like, oh, like you're 20, like when I was 20 I climbed my first V17, you know, like people like they so many of the V17 climbers nowadays
No,
climbed their V17 like a year ago, and now they've climbed 3. And they're like 27. So it's like there's a lot of
That's
time.
very true. Yeah.
I think there's more time than people think in a career.
Wait, Noah, are you now the youngest person to climb V17? Is that?
Yeah, weirdly enough. Even though
Okay.
I'm not like a prodigy or
Even though you're
anything,
old.
you know? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
You're
old.
super old.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to push you on something that you said earlier, Noah, and it was this idea of like you sieged as a pro climber, or maybe it was Ben that was like, dude, pro climbers spend a month sieging, and that's what it takes. But I'm also kind of pushing you on that because to me, there's like another level of sieging where you don't know if you're going to be able to do it, where you climb Sleepwalker, you kind of do the sit moves into it. Like it just, I don't want to be mean, but it was like, yeah, you can do it. I mean, it's very clearly possible where if we put you on like something like Burden of Dreams has that hard first move and you might be close on it and you might have done it from that first move up, but there's something different about doing all the moves and being like, look, I just need to spend a month here digging in. I'll get it done. Is that something in your view of the future, is to bang your head against something that's not clearly that the outcome is almost predetermined?
I am. That's like the ultimate challenge, that's the ultimate personal challenge. Even if it's an established climb, there's a lot of styles I'm really bad at where I could see myself just taking many sessions to do like one move. But it's just like, I mean, if you're a pro climber, you have financial incentive and like et cetera to like send climbs and projects realistically, but then like, yeah, 2 is also just like hard to, it is a totally different mental space, I think. And I've never really gone into that. I think it's easier to do that like on the boards or something maybe where it almost feels like you have more time. But like outside, that's just, I mean, yeah, the driving out there and then like spending many days out in the cold, like trying stuff where you're not sure you'll send. It just, yeah, I don't know. Right now, I'm not looking to do that. But in the future, that's like, that is like the ultimate challenge for a climber. And there's something inspiring about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel like the boards are cheating because you kind of know these holds and like, oh, if I just snag this, even though I can't quite reach it, like my feet can cut, like I know it'll work out. Where sometimes moves where they're really at your limit, you're not sure if your feet could cut, or like you've never, like you can kind of tickle it, but the idea of stopping on it seems insane. Versus I feel like when you're on the climb with like kind of good holds and you can kind of like get near them, you're like, I just can feel that it goes. I know
it goes.
It goes. Yeah. Tell me more about Shaolin, dude. So, I mean, I guess it was kind of obvious that you would go and get on it since you put down Return so quickly. And I'm guessing you just had that block of time. But what was it like on those first days of Shaolin? Like, what's the climb like compared to Return?
I mean, it's so different. It's really hard to compare it at all. The intro is harder. The exit is probably easier for me. The breakdown's probably like a 13, maybe a 14 into like a 14 or a 15, but it all comes down to, yeah, just like the 15, like it's just a 2-move 15, maybe like one move 12 or 13 into like one move 11 or something. And just like I did all the moves first session, and then like second session I did the 15 link at the top, and then for the next I don't know, 8 or 10 sessions, it was just like I would always get through the bottom, and it just made the top so much more low percentage. And that's the sort of thing where like I knew it went, but like it's still unknown the amount of time that it'll take to do it, and that still gets you mentally like big time, because I don't know. Yeah, it was a pretty different process. I think it's hard to compare.
The whole mental thing of when you've done all the moves on something and then it's like low percentage, I find it not fun. Like, I'm like, look, like I know I can do this. You look around, your buddy's like, oh dude, you can totally do this. You're like, so why do I have to spend a month like showing that I can do it? And like, I'm just curious, when you have those slips at the end, maybe it was Return. I'm sure Shaolin, you pinged off on goes that you were like, oh, I'm going to satch this right now. Like, would you tell yourself to like come back the next day and be like, I'm just going to do exactly the same thing? And like, we all know I can do it, but yeah, like, what are you telling yourself on those rest
Well,
days?
I mean, the real trick is to make it feel like you're not banging your head against the wall, because you can always learn more about these moves. And like, I mean, every time I would fall on, I fell like 3 times or 2 times on the last move, with the V11 move, which is like maybe the red point crux for the sit. I'm not positive, or like going from the bottom, but I always would like try to go back into analyzing like how I can generate better, and like how I can like prepare your mind mentally for when you get there again, and so it's just a lot of like, it's not just like banging your head against the wall. It's like falling and then analyzing what you did, and then I mean, even just the effort of doing that makes you feel as though you're like progressing or you're not stagnating. And same with like the first, even though I did the first hard throw move like second day or first day, like I spent so much effort, like most of my time, like, or my energy spent towards the boulder was spent like analyzing, and then like trying that move, and like just testing in like different ways coming from the bottom. I don't, yeah, it's just like it's all about like reshaping your perspective like towards the move of the boulder. So it never feels stagnant, ideally.
When you do these moves that are very dynamic, but they're dead point, they're, I don't know if dyno is the right word. They're not like, okay, let's like fit into this box, let's ISO this hold and reach really statically and find like tension. They're kind of like let's make sure that you move through the right trajectory and hit it with the perfect amount of, I don't know, velocity going some direction. Like, how do you dial in those minutia on something that, I don't know, like it starts from the generation, and yeah, like what's like the subtle things that you can change to make it feel better?
I mean, for me, honestly, I'm not like, for me, it's all about, I think I learned it's all about the generation. For me, like even just accuracy or any of that, like it all stems from how I'm like positioning my hips, and like where I'm pulling through my fingers and my like wrists and all that. Like even just controlling the swing, like all of it I found like derives from how I orient my body when I like first generate. And I'm really not, I go into autopilot the second I like release, really. So I pretty much solely focused on the moments leading up to like letting go of my left hand. And that was really it. I'm sure it's different for other climbers. Like I personally just have trouble like not going into autopilot once I'm like in the air. But I think it works. I have a lot of experience doing like dead points and throws, so I trust my body will hold myself in well, like once I hit a hold well. And like Ben observed that like this year I sort of developed this technique where like once I hit a hold, I'll like pull into a one arm to like take the swing sort of. And that was what I was doing for Shaolin, but that was totally like, I didn't think about doing that. I was just naturally doing it. It was totally like subconscious. But it all sort of derived from how I was generating in the first place.
Ben, did you get out to Red Rocks and climb with Noah?
Yeah, I was there I think I was there for 4 days, or maybe a little, like 4 climbing days. How many days did I watch you on Shaolin? 3 or 4, probably.
He was like 4 days. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I mean, it was watching Shaolin projecting is it's very cool. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Did you try it?
No, I didn't pull on at all. On
What?
Shaolin.
Dude.
Yeah. I tried Trieste 2 days, and then I exploded my finger, which sucked.
Yeah, he was looking good.
And then I watched
freak split. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Exploded your skin, not your pulling.
not
okay.
like a
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, Shaolin was cool. I feel like Noah, I don't know what he's right. Almost all of the talk about Shaolin, it was just like that one move and just watching video of the one move every go. And there was like, I think on Shaolin there's like 2, well, if you're strong enough, like if you watch Sean Bailey, he hits the first move and his left arm is probably at like 120-degree bend, and his upper body stays pretty in the same place, doesn't move that much, and his legs kick up.
Yeah.
And he does like a little like kick with his legs. And if you watch Noah do it, it's very different. It's more like he hits the hold, and then as he hits the hold, his entire upper body moves like 2 or 3 feet up and like swings a different direction. and his legs do the same kick, but it's just a completely different move. And I think that was like a big, because there were like 2 goes where you did it like Sean, and like it looked like way easier, like less of a swing. But then I feel like you said like for you, the part of the generation that matters is making sure that you hit the left hand accurately. Because if you hit it accurately, you can do whatever you want. Like the swing didn't matter
Yeah.
as much.
Like the holds, if you hit it exactly right, it's like pretty decent, and like I could do a one arm on it, you know. So like, and also it's about hitting it accurately, of course, and then also high enough to where I can like engage into the one arm pull up, you know. And that's just letting my body do it, you know, like
Exactly, yeah. But like I think that's different. Like I think people like you and Sean mentally probably just thought about that move completely differently. Like he doesn't pull into a one arm at all. He just like kicks his legs up. And you were like, if I can get it well enough to pull into one arm, I won't fall, you know? And you both did it. But it was very interesting to see because like it's not how I imagined someone would do the move, like watching Noah do it. It just looks like impossible, but people climb differently. Yeah.
Who else did you guys see out there on it?
I was trying it with Zach a lot.
Oh, that's right.
He's doing really well on it. But for him, I don't know about the crux. Maybe the crux is the second throw, which maybe if you're shorter, it's a little bit harder, you know. But it's just like when you're there, it's really weird, you know.
There's something about those like accurate lerps that when you just pull on and have to do as a one move, it feels so different than when you come from the bottom. And somehow like you have to do a hard move, you're all tensed up, and then somehow like get back into that like limp kind of like lerpy style. And there's something really hard about, at least for me, when I have to do those kind of super accurate, difficult dead points from the bottom, it changes the move entirely. And yeah, I don't know. Low percentage,
totally.
of course. On that note of climbing on V17s with other people, you were working on No One Mourns the Wicked. And actually, dude, last time we had talked, I think you had like just done Defying Gravity and you were amped because it was a cool boulder.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But then I know you spent some time out there because it wasn't too far from where you guys are at college, right? Like it was,
Yep.
it's like the thing. Tell me a little bit about No One Mourns the Wicked and just how's it going?
So, well, I haven't tried it in a while. I kind of got just like tired of it, sort of. But for me, like I the heel move is really hard. Like the heel bait is really hard. I think I'm just a little bit like I have even eight relative to my height. So, and I'm like 5'11", so I'm like pretty tall. But like, it's hard for me to get left enough to like engage the heel as I throw for the right hand. And I'm just not. I think I naturally just gravitate towards like the throw move, but doing the throw move in link from the start is just like, or the throw move is in like you just do a ninja kick and you just hit the right hand and just engage on that and that's it. And like it's just so hard from the start that I kind of got unpsyched because it feels like it makes it way more low percentage to rely like just do like the pure like throw beta, you know. Yeah, you need to like retain so much power through the bottom, which is like a pretty sappy sequence. And yeah, either I need to gain a lot of like power endurance, or just like find the exact micro beta to do that throw from the start. But it feels like really, like for me, the way I'm doing it, it feels harder than Shaolin, with like the throw without the heel. So yeah.
When you say ninja kick or the throw, I thought you did Defying Gravity as a campus.
Well, the first time I did it as a campus, but that's not really doable from the sit, and that would be like, you know, insanely hard. But now I do it like you get a left foot on like a pretty decent like, just left foot. Yeah, it's actually to the right and down, but you get your left foot on it, and then you like square up towards the wall, and then go like pull down, and then like ninja kick, and then you like pull up really hard, and you just take the decent jug right hand, and just take that swing. But yeah, just it's so much generation, you know, and so much accuracy that way. Yeah, I don't. But I've done it. I did it from one move lower, like that way, like a few times. Like it felt pretty good, and I was like, I can do this from the bottom. But then I came back the next day, and I don't know, I couldn't do the move again. And this is like in the same week, so I think it was temps or something. But it just really messed with my mind. Where like I can't even like the cartoon feels easy one day and I can't do the next day. And I was like, I don't want to do this process right now, you know. So yeah.
So you guys were out there with Hamish when he did it quickly. He gave you a lot of praise and credit for spraying him down. And when I saw you guys in Colorado last and you knew I had done a pod with Hamish, you were like, did he give it 17? Like what would he give it? Which, you know, you've listened to the pod with Hamish. It's not exactly the way Hamish approaches things, is he wasn't, you know, that's not what he wanted to talk about. And so we talked about what he did want to talk about. But I'm just curious, you know, after this season, after climbing with Hamish on it, maybe actually I want to ask Ben, like you've been around just climbing with all these guys doing V17s in front of you, crushing, almost flashing V15 or V14, whatever you want to call it. Like, what do you think about grades now, a year later, after seeing Noah crush these things, watching Hamish on some of these things? Like, do you have any better sense of grade 17 and how it fits into climbing now?
Oh, that's tough. I think, I mean, I have a better sense, but I think that's even the people who've climbed V17, I think there's a pretty general consensus that it's not.
Noah shakes his head.
Yeah, that it's not a defined grade.
Yeah, we have no idea.
I like more and more we hear about like this, like between a lot of pro climbers, if you talk to a lot, like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of specific ones I can name even, but like the people at the top of the sport seem to think that there is something a little bit wrong with the grades right now. I think like V15, V16, V17. I think the main problem is that people just don't feel like they're the same size of a spectrum of difficulty, which like maybe I can see. I don't know if it's hard to say. I mean, there's also the style specific, like something like Hypno to me and like to Hamish, I think. And maybe even Noah, I don't know. I mean, you're better at that move, but like that, when you try it, feels like maybe just like as hard as the 17s that I've touched and tried even. And that's like a little weird. I don't know.
But then you talk to Daniel. Daniel thinks it's like, he still thinks it's easy.
Yeah, he could just ice the move, you know, now. Like
15,
every
like
time.
actually.
Yeah, exactly. The number one thing I'd notice actually, especially with like the Olympian, like highest level climbers like Colin, Hamish, Nathaniel, all like some of the best climbers in the world, and also from comps really recently, like something like Hypno doesn't fit the modern day style of training really at all. And something like No One Mourns the Wicked, or even Shaolin fits the modern style of training like really well. Like they're all about like movement, like swing generation. And that's like a huge thing in comps with like Lachey's and Paddle Dynas. And I think those guys just have like, honestly, a better understanding of movement than anyone else from the past generations. But you take something like Hypno and it's like, you know, left hand mini pinch, like they are not good at that grip, but like Daniel can just like lock it off to his chest all day. So I like the grades right now reflect the old school, like the last generation's opinions on how hard things are, which simply do not apply to the current generation with their comp background. Like if the current generation went out and established these boulders, the grades would be like flip-flopped in a lot of places just because the style of training has done a complete 180 from when the past generation was growing up. So I think it's hard to reflect that in grades, you know. It's almost impossible actually. Like they just climb in a different way. Yeah. So I don't really know the solution, but it's definitely a thing.
We were saying about No One Mourns is like 100% the case. Like Hamish was saying that it's like exactly his style in every way. It's like pretty comfy grips, like big movements between, pretty good holds. Like, I mean, it just for like it's so comp style, but it's also just so catered to him to where like it's almost unfair for him to grade the boulder, you know? Like, and it's kind of, it says more about our culture that we like expect him to give like some sort of accurate grade for the boulder than, you know, than for him itself. Yeah, for him.
I like, Ben, how you outlined that based on the history and the training and stuff like that kind of sets our expectation of a grade. And then all of a sudden what the background is that you grow up on, things become quote unquote easier because you have that history. My not analogy, my example of this that I often use is that when Waco tanks came around, there's a lot of roofs, and these roofs had never been seen before because there weren't gyms that had roofs. There just wasn't a lot of roof climbing. And so these things got grades that were like really high up because they're like, dude, well, I've never climbed on a roof in my life. This feels hard as hell. And then you have a whole generation that grows up climbing on roofs in a gym. They're like, dude, this is not hard. These are jugs. Like, you just didn't know how to climb on a roof. And when I look at something like, I don't know, Hypno's an interesting one because like Daniel also, he's world class in a specific, I mean, of course he's world class, but then within the world class, he's got abilities like how he did Defying Gravity was unique and interesting. But then along came like Rustam, who did it unbelievably easily too. And then you would think like Dave Graham, who is strong fingered, had access, sieged it with maybe had an easier time, and climbs in that style. I mean, he is that generation, and then he struggled with it. So I don't know. All this is just to say that what's interesting is that makes me think that, like we may have misgraded, but that doesn't mean that like Hamish in his style couldn't still do a V17, because they're all world-class, just like maybe Daniel should have upgraded that, or he can go and do something in his style. But the thing that makes this really difficult is that there's no incentive for someone to go and then climb the old style and get good at it. So like Noah, you're a pro now, right? Like, so, your sponsors are going to be like, dude, like, let's see more V17s. Let's see V18s. You're like, whoa. I want to go back and like develop my style on this at like V15, and trust me, it's really, really hard. The grades are weird, but I'm going to like if I do X climb, it's going to be really good for me and really impressive. But that's not what the incentive is. The incentive is to like find the niche and push it higher and higher and get higher and higher grades. So it's going to continue to distort our scale. Probably.
That's very true. I mean, personally, I do think we can relax some of the incentive with like Wheel Rock or something where I can still produce content catered towards like my own goals that might not necessarily align with like whatever is optimal with regard to like capitalism or whatever, because I think we can still like create interesting content out of that. But yeah, certainly the sponsorship realm makes it hard for that.
If you guys do that, I would love to hear more about why you're working on Hypno or whatever the case may be that has like the lower grade, and like really go into the details of like, this is why this one is so hard. Don't pay attention to the grade. Like, this is a unique style of movement or whatever. Just like tell that story, because so many times people are like, oh dude, it's V15. Who cares? Like, people are flashing V15. Well, not yet, but people will flash V15 any day. But yeah, sorry.
I actually want to make a video about Hypnotized Minds, because I'm more psyched on trying that than I am on No One Mourns, or maybe even like I don't know, some other 17, just because like the history is so legendary and it's so pure, so we're trying to make a video on that for sure.
Yeah, that's one of those boulders. Like I try Hypno, like I've tried it a decent amount, because I just think I think that's the coolest boulder ever. I think it's so sick, like the style and the holds and the history. And Daniel's just a legend. It's awesome.
Wait, maybe you guys should just say a little bit of the history. Like, I don't know how popular it is anymore. Like, it kind of had this mystique, and then it just didn't get done. And just like, I don't know, Ben, you want to give the little bit of like, why are you drawn to it? Like, what is the history?
Okay, well, I don't know a lot of the history. I don't know when Veritas Boulder was found or anything like that. But like, from my youth perspective, like, there's that video of Daniel Woods, like, by like Sanook or something, and it's one of those like hilarious
sick video,
like
video.
2000s like videos where he's in his skinny jeans and beanie, and he's like describing the hold, and he's like quarter pad mini pinch, and
legendary.
He's like doing it, and there's like 4 sessions. He like falls off the top and he like sticks it, and there's one shot on like the big right hand move where it's like shot from the perspective of the right hand, and like you see his like crimp hit it. I just thought that was like the sickest video. And then in the video, you don't see him fall on the crux move, because I don't think he does. Like, he literally just hits it and he just boom.
For him,
he goes like that.
Dude, for him, the crux move Well, when we say crux move, we mean you go from the quarter mini pad pinch or whatever to like this pretty shitty like finger lock upright. For him, that's not the crux move. Like he just ices that move. For him, either the bump out right is like the super far bump. It's for the sit. It's like you do like a V12 into the stand, which is probably like a V14. And for him, that move is really hard. And then also the foot kick to go up left, which it's hard to explain. But yeah, once you get the finger lock, you just like do a pretty hard foot kick to like a pretty
It's real bad.
yeah,
So
pretty
glassy.
bad
Yeah.
like glassy sloper foot, and then you pull up left to like an okay hold. But for him, dude, it's like for him the crux is the boulder is totally different than for anyone else I've talked to. It's crazy.
But anyways, yeah. So for me, what makes it like okay, so that's the first like story about hypnotized minds. It's that video. And then it's just that every story of people doing hypnotized minds is legendary, you know, in its own way. Like Rustam shows up, don't really know who he is.
6 years
He won
later.
a bunch of World
6
Cups.
years later.
I'm sure I know he's a legend, but I'm young. He was a little after I started watching, or before I started watching World Cups, but I know he like won a bunch of them. He's amazing, and he shows up and like it's unrepeated. Like, what is this climb? Is it V16? Is it V17? You know, what is it? And he just does it in 4 days, like with the shorter beta, and like that's crazy. Like his Instagram post, I look at all the time still. It's just like this. It says like this is the greatest moment in my climbing career. It's like so sick. and then even more legendary stories. There's Matt Foltz, who's you know a bigger climber, a heavier climber in the crimpiest, like you know, just like most fingery boulder, and he like just puts all this time into it. Like he sieges it, and he eventually does it. And like the video of him doing it, like it's just him and or Haley, his wife, and it's like just such a sick.
That was
moment.
his first 16, I think, which is insane.
First 16, yeah. First 16,
and he
like,
popped his
third
pulley
week.
on it like the year before. Some like crazy.
Yeah, and he tops it out, and like it's to this day until Big Z actually. Now it's Big Z. But like whenever he'd do 16, I'd see comments that are like, "Is this your hardest climb?" And he'd be like, "No, hypnotized minds." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's so sick." And then there's Dave Graham, the most legendary story maybe, just like you know from that generation, like put up by Daniel, and he just projects it for like he's been getting close for like a decade.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then one day he does it, and he's like, "Video soon to come." And we still don't have the video, which I think makes it even better. I hope he puts on his story like video coming out in a week, and it just never comes out. Like, and I like that because it's like I don't know what his real reason is. Maybe he just lost the video. I don't know. But like in my head, it's like fuck the media. Like they want this video to like make media, but like this climb is way more important than that. Like,
we all
this
know
is
he
for
did
me.
it too.
Yeah, exactly. Like this video, this is just for me. You know, Hypno's just for me. And like P Rob has been trying it. So yeah, it's just who's tried it, who's done it, and how they tried it and how they did it. All those stories are just legendary and so inspiring. And that's why I want to do it. I want to be part of that. You know, I want to be another like, you know, Ben tried it for 35 years. Like on his dying day, he finally sent, like had a heart attack on the top out and he sent. Yeah, that's what I want.
Damn, dude. I like the idea of adding your name to the list of epic stories. I hope Dave's video of him doing it comes out like on his funeral. Like he, you know, he's just like, here you go, guys. Like this is
a projector rolls over the coffin and just plays.
Yeah, that's the
It is funny how like all those super different styles where Rustam is famous. Like I think he was in Colorado for like the World Cup or something, right? He was just like there, but he, you know, and he's famous for being like a crimp machine that weighed like 120 pounds. And the only thing he ate was cigarettes and just like, he was just a beast. And he was a legend, dude. He was so good on the World Cup circuit. And it was like surprising because so many people had tried it, but it wasn't like he was a no one. And when he did, it was incredible. And then when I think of Dave Graham, I just think of him like tarping, shoveling off snow. Like I don't even remember him climbing. I just remember him prepping the boulder to climb. Because, and dude, I want to say that Daniel's tattoo of, I don't know this, but you know, he's got that tattoo on his hand of like the Grim Reaper or something with like, you know, a pocket watch. And I think it's like, you know, swinging back and forth. I was like, I want to know, like if that's like a tattoo of hypnotized minds or somehow related, because I think that'd be pretty dope. Then you have to get that tattattoo if you
exactly. I would tattoo anything on my body if I said hypnotized minds. That's the other thing. The name is so badass, dude. And when you think about like Dave and Matt, like it's like they're hypnotized. You know what I mean? They just keep fucking walking to this boulder and like doing whatever it takes. and they're the mines. It's sick.
Bro, Daniel was telling us that he named the boulder wrong. Where it was named after like Hypnotized Minds, the record label, which has no D. It's Hypnotized Minds. But but I was like, don't worry about it, because like Hypnotized Minds is like a cooler name than Hypnotized Minds.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's even more legendary.
that
Just
is legendary. It's
accidental.
renamed. He created the name in a way.
That is freaking hilarious. That is incredible.
So funny, dude.
Yeah, I do wonder about this grading stuff when you have someone do something in their style, and and then we also had that like grade compression era, because I always think of the story from Carlo of when they went and did lucid dreaming or worked on lucid dreaming. He said Daniel just housed it. He just, and you can imagine that too. Just he grabs that min pin. It's like got a similar vibe of like just grabbing it onto the next. And they said that's why they're like, oh, it must be 15 because Daniel just like, it was not hard. And then I don't know. I mean, I have no room to say what lucid is, but to say it was just like obviously clearly 15. I think the ascensionists who have come after that and in today's world, I don't know if they would just be like, oh yeah, of course. Like it's definitely cuspy at the very least. And so just having someone show up, do their own style and just put it down, like, I don't know, it messes up everything. And then when you have someone like Daniel who has unbelievable strength, you wonder, well, like, what does it take to then push into this new grade range? Like when do you if you're that guy and things maybe do feel quote unquote easy for you, but because it's your superpower, like how do you know to say, hey, this should be a 16 or this should be a 17? Like it's not as clear. It's hard to make that leap when it's in your style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, what I was gonna say about during the Hamish conversation about kind of like the styles and the switching styles, like what I said about the comp climbers, like just being a different level in a certain style, like No One Mourns the Wicked. I think that's okay. And that maybe like when you think about Daniel or Chris Sharma, like when they came onto the scene, like every generation is better than the last in a different way. And like you said, like Daniel was probably, they'd never seen someone crimp that hard, that steep, And it's not like because that's his superpower, they should downgrade all those climbs. It's like, no, like, and it's not like Daniel, it's not like Daniel has to go back and climb every V9 like handless slab and font in order to like call himself like establish next grade. Like Aiden talks about a little. Like I think where progression has always come from, since the beginning of climbing, is a new generation and someone who's genetically amazing, finding their style and pushing it as far as they can go. And that's not to say they shouldn't do other climbs. They can, but like we should let people like I don't know what Hamish thinks how hard it is grade wise, but like it's not, we shouldn't be like Hamish did this in a day, so we should like rescale our grades because no one can be that good. It's more like that is how progression happens. Like someone does something that we all think is impossible, and our first reaction is to be like, no, like that is impossible. It must be that the climb's easier. But really, progression is like that we thought that was impossible, and it's not because he did it. So like let's let them keep, pushing. Like I don't know. Totally. I think that we're just seeing a higher rate of progression. I think we're seeing a higher rate of progression than we're used to, and people don't really know how to like deal with it. But when you think about it, it makes sense. Like the people who are like around Hamish's age, like there was a big jump in training tools and, exposure. So to see that like shift reflected like 20 years later in the progression at the top end of our sport makes sense to me,
Yeah, I mean, Hypnotized Minds was in Daniel's style, and he put it up at 15 in like 5 days or 6 days, and that was just progression in his style. And it was obviously the next level, like 16, even though it was in his style.
Damn, that was really well said, Ben. I like that, and I know Hamish tried Hypnotized Minds, and everyone. I mean, of course, everyone tries it because it's roadside and it's beautiful. It's just like right there, and it is telling when it doesn't get done right away. Like it's definitely didn't land at V15. That's for sure. It's always interesting to see things upgraded because things just cannot get upgraded. I feel like it's just inappropriate somehow.
It's taboo.
Yeah. It's because it takes one person to downgrade and everyone has to upgrade for it to be considered an upgrade. Like
that's a good point. I was gonna say like, in this generation that you guys are a part of and new training tools, probably boards. We could point out, but I don't know if that's totally true because like there's been boards forever. But anyways, the love of boards kind of had not a resurgence, but it became part of the day to day. I feel like things are going up and up, and that climbing has been leveling up. I mean, do you guys notice it? Like when you're sitting around with like, I don't know, all that crew, whether it's like Kai, Whaley, and Hamish, and you guys are like all 18 to 25, and are you guys like, oh yeah, we are the next generation? Holy shit! Like the torch has been passed, dude. Like, and we are carrying it on harder climbs than you guys were before. Like, do you guys recognize it? Does it feel like that? Because that's how it looks from me as like an outsider that's just reading the papers, and I'm just like, oh shit, good job, Noah. Oh shit, good job, Hamish. Like like damn, like that was quick. Or even when I went to Bishop and I just watched some stuff that just I've been in Bishop most winters for for over a decade, and I was like, oh, okay, these guys are different. Like it just clearly was different. But yeah, I'm just wondering if you guys can all feel it too.
I feel like my only frame of reference is like my existent like culture and who I grew up around, and that's who you see now like emerging, and so I don't really see that personally. It's definitely, I can see the narrative, like makes sense to me, and it's cool to hear. But yeah, there's definitely some sort of like contrast between how it feels and how people interpret it, outside. But it makes sense. Yeah.
I gotta ask, Ben, you said that you had these specific climbs. You were like, of this grade, this grade, and this grade, and they drew you to it. Like, what made you want to go and climb those climbs? Like, it seems like that's almost like paying homage to the people before, where, we were joking about Daniel doesn't have to go and do a bunch of V9 slabs, but how come you want to go and do this 14, this 15, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Well, one of the things related to the slab point is that I kind of do all the climbs that I picked, I know aren't like complete anti-style or foreign style. Like I didn't pick a V10 slab, but because, like off the wagon, that's like pretty boardy and burden, all that. But the reason I picked those is I'm just kind of a huge, I mean, we actually met in person. You've probably seen it. I'm just kind of a huge fanboy. Like I'm just a fan of the sport, like every time we make a video, every time I meet anyone, I'm like always starstruck and I just ask a billion questions. And I'm just so psyched on like being a fan. Ever since I was young, I'm so on YouTube. I've watched like every climbing video on YouTube. So most of the climbs I pick are either because of a specific video or like a collection of videos or Jimmy Webb. Because he's
the GOAT.
I mean,
he's the GOAT.
He's my god. Yeah. Jimmy Webb
is the GOAT.
He's my GOAT. He's my GOAT. So like, and
the
his
Aura
videos
GOAT. He's
are
the Aura
especially,
GOAT, I think.
He is, dude. He's so, oh my god, he's so cool.
Wait, what's the Oregon? Oh, okay, yeah, I get Oregon. Okay,
yeah. Oh yeah. Roll with the punches, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Oregon.
Oh yeah, I
of
know
course.
That. I know that.
Oh yeah, Aura.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I do feel like in some ways he was or is the Chris Sharma of that generation, where he's just got like, you're like, oh, I want to climb like him. I want to be like him.
Cool.
Just he's big and strong and cool, and you're like, yeah, I want to be like, yeah.
and his power screams is like a bear, He's like, ugh. And he fucking, it's sick.
I mean, it's funny how the media does, like, you see someone do that climb and you want to go do it. I'm curious, are you ever like disappointed when you've seen a video of a climb and you go and you're like, oh,
yes.
Yeah. And which one comes? I'm just curious.
Number one example, the Mantra. It's a V14 on the Copperhead boulder in Little Cottonwood Canyon in Utah.
Okay.
And there's a video on Zach's Instagram, super high quality, and he it's like all crimps on a face, and it looks like cool white like granite or whatever. And he like hits the left hand, like locks off, and it goes out to this right hand, like down to the lip, and I thought it looked like the coolest boulder in the world. And I was like, oh my god, I have to go try it. And I was in Salt Lake for the World Cup. I mean, it was like 90 degrees, so I wasn't gonna try it. But I went to look at it, and it is like, shout out whoever put it up, but no offense, it's horrible. It's completely contrived. I'm not gonna beat around. It's bad. It's completely contrived. the rock in one part of it is like turns into like poop. Yeah.
Yeah, so
and it's
bad,
like
dude.
8 feet tall. It's like not as tall as it looks. And I get why they did. I mean, if I were Zach, I would have done it too. It's right there. It's V14. It's a cool style. But like, damn, yeah, no. I saw that and I was like, damn, yeah, no, I don't really care about it anymore. But yeah, that was pretty disappointing.
The finish line should not disappoint. I haven't been out there, but everyone I talked to,
I looked at that.
Ooh,
yeah, no,
yeah.
dude,
That is insane
you
looking.
look at that. It's crazy.
Mm.
It does transcend grades more than any boulder I've ever seen. Like, it is crazy looking, and it's way scarier than you think. Like, you watch the videos and like, oh, you can't really see the landing that well, but the landing
not
is
even
on
a
top
landing.
of a different.
Yeah,
the landing on
it's
top of a
absurd.
different rock. Yeah, and it's like small. Like, it's like the landing is like where two huge rocks meet, and it's like built on sticks, and then the boulder is like fucking 40 feet tall.
Wow.
And it's like
It's gotta be the best boulder in the world.
Yeah. It's gotta be. I can't believe people climb that. Oh my god.
Quick break to tell you about today's sponsor. And just a reminder, I only partner with companies that are run by climbers. Today's partner is Tension Climbing. If you're a longtime listener, you already know how much I love this company. And that's because they make my favorite climbing products. My typical gym session is on the TB2, warming up using a tension block and chalking up in their chalk bucket. Let's talk more about the TB2. It's my favorite board, and I consider myself something of a board connoisseur. The TB2 feels more like real climbing than other boards, but it also allows you to mimic other board styles when you want to. And to add even more variety, the TB2 has a mirror layout and a spray layout using the same holds. This means one hold set has two distinct layouts, and that means even more problems for when you want to switch things up. The secret behind Tension is that it is run by real climbers that care. The products they create can only be done by those with a deep understanding of climbing needs. You'll recognize the difference the moment you pull onto the TB2, hang on one of their hangboards, or use any of their innovative training tools. Go check them out at tensionclimbing.com. Okay, back to the pod. So Noah, we heard Ben's list of what are you looking forward to doing? I think you said that you're psyched to spend a bunch of time in Switzerland this year. And now, like I said, like now you're graduated, now you're a pro. Now maybe you can kind of set goals and, you know, make that your priority versus like, I still have a class. Sorry, mom. You know, and yeah, what are you looking forward to getting on?
Yes. I mean, I'm trying to structure my whole year around Switzerland. So right now I'm gonna try to like train for that. So I mean, there's just so much I want to get on. You know, I think all the 16s in Switzerland are super inspiring to me. Like also like in Sit is the main one. That's one boulder where I mean, when I was young, I was super inspired by it. Just like the videos were sick from like KTS, and then it's like super in style too. So it always felt like even before I could climb like V14 or whatever, I felt like maybe that's something I could do, you know. And now I'm psyched on the Sit. So there's that, and then Poison the Well looks sick as well. Just the rock looks amazing. The fact that it's only been done like twice, it sort of has this like weird, like underrated secret like aura around it, you know. So that one seems sick. VFC Leone, I have to do that, the stand, and then I want to try the Sit because the move kind of looks awkward, the crux move, where you like do this weird bump with a high foot, but that's kind of like the sort of style I like climbing in, and then the stand just looks so amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more, just like everything. Like Afira looks amazing. I want to hop on that.
Yeah,
And
why
then,
Switzerland in general though?
That's just like I've always had this like this idea in my head that it's like the mecca of outdoor bouldering. You know, it's sort of like, I mean, maybe that's an hourly imposed conception, but like, yeah, it just always seemed like it has the best rock, the best hard climbs. They look so amazing. Like there's so much like, I mean, they're like the boulders that like I grew up watching. You know, like get put up. You know, and also just like I feel like the mellow, like when I think of like the mellow crew, I think of them like sort of being like cultivated there, you know, and like their like popularity sort of through like
what about
climbs
Yosemite,
like
Noah, huh?
Yeah, what about Yosemite?
What about Yosemite? Yeah, you're afraid of those V12s, huh?
of the intricate technical bouldering.
The
Yeah.
intricacies of the granite.
Yeah.
Squamish. Go to Squamish.
No,
Noah, huh?
dude, that Spitz boulder that he just put up, the 16 looks amazing. I would love to try that. But I mean, Switzerland is the main.
It's dope.
It's that like childhood area for me, you know. So that's goal number one. And then once I go there, you know, I love to go to Switzerland. It looks
No,
amazing.
you're not a real climber.
I'm not-
If you're a real climber, you do the nose.
Squat,
Do the
dude.
nose, Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about Off the Wagon and just, dude, the videos of all those like those dosages too. Like when I think of like
Oh my
Kings
God.
of Solerto, when I
Yeah.
saw Dave Graham do that thing, I was just like, I have to go there and do that. I have not gone there and done that yet, but I was thinking about like Off the Wagon and just we're talking about styles and how like training changes or whatever we were talking about. And like, I'm pretty certain that someone today could do Off the Wagon and like kiss their bicep like as they're holding the one arm that, you know, Sharma like falls off, like barely misses that pocket. I'm sure like nowadays people can just like be like, what do you guys do?
They
I'm just
can.
hanging
Yeah,
out
I've
here.
seen-
Yeah, just do like five
crazy.
one arms on it before you do the.
Like
Yeah.
Vadim Timonov on that move, it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam would like, yeah, he could play rock paper scissors on that hold.
Yeah.
Any,
You wouldn't even
Any-
you just do this. You just, yeah.
Yeah.
any interest in that one that Aiden put up, Arrival of the Birds, I want to say, or like, I feel like that has this kind of, I don't know. It's like, does it exist? I talked Carlo. I don't know if he did on the podcast, but he sprayed a little bit. He talked about trying it with Aiden. I think before, while it was still a project, and sounds
What do you
tricky.
say about
I
it?
just,
Yeah, what do you say?
I think what he said was that it was thin and that the crimps were these like weird rounded ones that were like really hard to get behind, and just that, you know, it's hard to hang like any position, just bad holds. You know, sounded like Aiden's style probably required that like really ISO like control that he's known
Yeah.
for. And that, you know, I mean, I know Carlo's not like a crimp specialist, but usually someone who's climbed enough, they kind of have an idea of what the climb's like though. And it sounded not easy, you know, not easy. So yeah, and I haven't heard anyone else trying it. Yeah.
I don't know enough about that to be like super psyched on it, but I definitely check it out, you know. But also I feel like that'd be very hard for me. I'm not good at like the controlled crimp style. I'm almost the opposite, where I'm very like loose
Yeah,
contact strength.
You try and like half crimping those.
I would definitely half
Very
crimp them. Yeah.
And then Colin would come along and 3-finger drag him,
Yeah,
which would be
he's-
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, on that note, your style of the jumping and snatching, saw you guys in Colorado, saw you guys at the Tension headquarters participating in Board Lords. We might have to bleep this out. I don't know, but we
Well,
got to talk about it.
We could call one. Okay, yeah. I would say the Board Lords was with Noah, and then Hamish McArthur,
Maybe it's McArthur. And
Hamish McArthur, and Han Suchums McCallum.
nice job, Ben. Nice job.
Well,
Thank-
no one's going to figure that one out, so then we can just talk Free Willy. Great.
Yeah, let's just talk.
Yeah, Hamish is really strong, man.
Yeah, it was interesting because you've done, that was like your third Board Lords?
That was my
though?
third. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, dude.
the standard.
And your skin was bad for all of them.
Dude, I split first pull on. First pull on.
Did you remember when you like bled and then you bled again? And I was like, dude, I think you just bled again. You were like, no, I didn't, on the third time. And then you did, it was like on your elbow.
Yeah, I was
You
like, oh
just-
wait, I did. Yeah.
I thought that was, well, first of all, it was just a blast getting to go there and just see you guys do the whole thing. I was very disappointed that I didn't get to climb as well, but you know, it was a tough crowd. It was a tough feeling.
Josh was gonna be the sub in.
Yeah.
If
For
Hamish didn't come,
Mamish. Yeah.
Josh it would be Josh, Noah.
Josh knows.
Mavish was
on it.
nowhere to be found, dude. It's because I kneecapped him in
He
the
was in the
parking lot.
woods. Dude, he kept him in the
when Mimish dropped in, when
Sabotaged
Mimish
him.
walked in, Josh was like, "No, I thought you were
Yeah.
dead. I thought I killed you."
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the dream was there. I of course I wanted to get tagged in, and it was an interesting mix of people. You guys all had really different styles and yeah, really different shapes and sizes. And yeah, I'm curious, Noah, how you thought it was going to pan out. Like, did you think it was going to lean towards, I don't know, I can't remember these names that you made up, so I'm just going to say the names so we can bleep them out. Like Sean, who's just was like a little freaking power ball of muscle with lots of TB2 experience. Mamish with his see-through shirts. And,
Mr. Invisible.
And showing up fashionably late. He just wanted you guys all to like warm up too long and blow your wad and then come in and just steal the show. Maybe that was his plan.
He's just trying to look nonchalant. He's probably in the parking lot the whole time.
Starting out, I had no expectations. You never really know who's going to be good at like the board, and also like it depends on what they set. But then when I saw the boulders, I thought Sean might do the best because they were like, I mean, especially the second one was like pretty steep and long, and like that's definitely his style, and I'm not too good at that. And I know like Hamish is just like, I knew Hamish was a freak, obviously. I mean, I'd seen him do no one more in one session, but I just didn't know what to think of him on the boards. He doesn't push much about it, so I just wasn't sure. But I mean, once we started climbing on them, I wasn't too surprised by what happened. Some of it, like Sean had to just figure out different beta for a lot of it, which I think maybe was just straight up harder beta for him. He had to like find like a way to do it without using his height to his advantage, whereas like Hamish and I could just like do it kind of the intended way. And then Hamish, like Hamish is the best climber I've ever seen, especially when it comes to execution. He is like, well, I've climbed with a lot of pros outside, and Hamish is like easily the best climber at like executing I've ever seen, and it's not really close at all. It just like, I mean, I feel like Hamish and we kind of figured out the second boulder in the same sort of way. Like we ended up kind of getting to the same place, and then I was just like gassed out, and the execution, I was just like, I'd done all the moves, but I was like, this would be really hard to link together, And Hamish just like, I mean, you guys will see in the video, but like he does. We both stop climbing the first climb, and then we go to the second, and he ends up doing that one, which has like a pretty big throw at the end. I think that kind of suited him pretty well. I think I could have done it, but I didn't, But then he goes back to the second one or the first one, and I'm just like gassed at that point. And he does it first try, after doing the second climb, and that was all just like insane try hard and like experience executing well, and just do it like it. In hindsight, it's not too surprising given how sort of long the boulders are and how just insane he is at doing moves he's already done in Link. That's his ultimate strength, just doing moves he's done in Link, really. And I'm actually not very good at that.
Yeah. That moment when he went back and did that second boulder, and he's on the last move and he's like falling, and he just keeps dropping his knee, and then he goes, and then he matches and he yells and he sprints out the exit door. That was like, I hope if the video's out, you guys, I mean, that was literally one of the greatest climbing moments I've ever seen, inside or out. And the whole crowd, oh my God, that was so awesome.
Real talk, that was special. Like, and I had literally done the pod with him the day before, and just, hearing his mental style, hearing him, talk about how he can show up in a moment and how, like, when it happens, it just happens and it's beautiful.
It's easy.
And
it's easy when it happens.
Yeah. But then him talk about how, like, but he still tries hard. It's just, I don't know. Anyways, just watching him actually almost do that boulder and then fall off on like the last move and then come back super tired. And then the way those last two moves went, I actually was like, oh, look, he's doing it. You could tell he was doing it. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's not going to do it at that last bit. And then he did it. And just like you were saying, Ben, it wasn't like he did it like cutting feet. It was almost like he did it even more beautifully as he was yelling.
Yeah. He like was so desperate. He unlocked another level of technique.
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
Do that. Yeah. No, okay. I want to say about Hamish, like, he has a very specific caption style, and like if you look at his comments, like not everyone's a fan, right? And like like watching Hamish climb in person, especially, adds like such a level of context. Like people who read his captions and don't understand his climbing, like to me, it's like you really, especially when you talk to him, like you can't separate that way of thinking from his climbing. Like people want to see him do Megatron. It's like, oh my God. and then they don't like his captions, but like that is like why he did it. Like like he's not just like making shit up. Like that's how he really climbs. Like when he talks about being invisible, like, you know, like he really climbs like it. And like this mentality, like he does things no one else could do because he is so thoughtful, and his captions actually do mean a lot. And they're new ways of thinking about climbing, and it makes him the best climber in the world. You know, like no one else would have done that second tension board boulder in the way he did it that deep into the session. No one else. They all would have fallen on the last move. You know, and it's like, yeah, that's what does it. He's like, his mentality is different.
When they're writing those, like when pros are writing these like philosophical, poetic captions, they're like telling you how they're good. Like that's why they're good, and that's how they're good. And people don't get that. It's like it's all physical. You know, they like it's I think it's part of like training culture nowadays. Just taking out the like mental aspect, but they're telling you how they climb it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was talking to J Star recently, and he was just talking about this general idea of you have some physicality, and he's just obsessed with like, how can you get to your physical, like, you know, produce whatever physicality you have today in that moment. Like, you know, how close can you get there? And because we were talking about Spain and how they all yell a muerte, which means to death. And it's like, that's a very like sport climbing enduro route thing too, of just like yelling your way and you keep going. Very, very Chris Sharma-esque too. And, you know, Hamish and I mean, all of these top guys, they have amazing physical abilities, but just like you were saying earlier, no, like when you were falling off return on that last, you know, V9 move, you're like, oh, I had the physicality at that time. I just couldn't quite show up right there. And just, you know, any insight into like what you've learned along the way, what you are trying to employ from Hamish, you know, like clearly you have broken through some mental barriers in the last year, and just, yeah, how do you show up and be your best self in the moment?
Yeah. I mean, I think Hamish, I've heard a lot of this like general idea Hamish sort of like navigates around, which is that like reorienting your relationship with rock climbing and trying hard and difficulty, and detaching the negative element of that from that experience or that relationship. So like he talks about how like almost detaching a sense of like difficulty or pain from like trying hard, you know, or like sending, like focusing on reorienting like your perception of like embodied action on the wall. It actually reshapes like what climbing is entirely for you, you know, and it unlocks like it's like entering a different realm of like sports action almost, you know, like it's just it's almost a totally different sport when you reorient the way that you see rock climbing. And if you take away this like sort of negative connotation with like various elements of rock climbing or training or sending that like often are in the way of you like realizing your goals, then you know it's way easier to realize them. You know, it's all about it's really all about like playing with or like conceptualizing your existent like perception of difficulty and climbing, and then like shifting that in a positive way. You know, so that those barriers are less. You know, I know like for return, like when I came back this year, I had that like a whole year of experience and like negative connotation with that last move, like that last throw, and like my perception of that move was like shaped by like failure and like punting almost, you know. But the day before I sent, I decided to spend a whole day just like sitting with the move and like really trying to figure it out in a beneficial way for like sending, obviously. And so, but like for me that came down less to like even a micro beta, but more to just like erasing my connotations like with the move, and then also in order to like sort of facilitate that, like literally when I got there, like when I got to the last move, making sure I take the time to just like chill and just like I don't know, just like it was almost like resting my brain or something. I don't know, just like reorienting and like forgetting like all the effort I put in prior to getting to that move, which a lot of the reason I was falling the year prior was because like I felt like I had to do the move because I just did this like V16 before it, and it all just like builds up, and then you like it gets to you mentally, and it's just hard to move. But like I just like tried to make it about the pure like movement itself and nothing else, and just sit with it, and that helped a lot. So yeah, it's all about reorientation. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but
Well, there's this concept in, maybe it's in psychology. It's like how habits are formed. And it's like, what do they say? The things that fire together, wire together. And it's this idea like if every time after you eat a meal, you smoke a cigarette, then if you're trying to quit smoking, every time you eat, you're like, oh, I'm supposed to smoke a cigarette now. And so if every time you get to that move, you fail, it's like, you're climbing, you're in this pattern. Okay, I'm just going to fall here. And I like the idea of like that pattern interrupt almost where you're like, okay, wait, stop. Like this is not just like every other Sengo. Like I'm here right now, like let's almost start from scratch. And I think that there's something to there. And that idea of trying to erase your past connotation, that's really interesting, man. It made me think of Katie Lamb, and she's really good at visualization and execution. And something that she said that always stuck with me, man, is like, she's like, okay, before I pull on, I'm going to visualize the boulder. I was like, oh yeah, good job. We all do that. And she said, in my visualization, I often fall, or like I fall sometimes in my visualization. Whoa. And then she's like, and then I'm going to visualize again and again until I don't fall. I feel like that's almost a way of rewiring and changing that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Your like relationship with the boulder. Yeah, that's very true. I don't visualize like at all, like ever, for some reason, but maybe I should. That's a good tip. Yeah.
I don't know, man, whatever you're doing, it's working, but it is interesting. This thing that we're talking about where this mental component, talking to Hamish, him trying to express it, him trying to share something new that he figured out. And it's not like, oh, it's just Hamish and he's born this way and just like, it's just some superpower. Like he's clearly on a journey and trying to, deal with whatever thing is making him fall. And now he's like, oh, dude, I think I figured something out. And when I talked to him first, it was right after the Olympics. And dude, he was like, I think I figured something out. Shit's different. And like to see it continue to go. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's just interesting to talk to someone at that level, whether it's you or Hamish. And it's like, holy shit. Like I still have these big things holding me back. And, the physicality was there for you to do return, but that wasn't the thing that made you do return. It was the next year. Well, actually, you said you also just gave yourself a bunch of margin. You have way stronger fingers. So
definitely much physically stronger, but it was, I mean, ultimately the mental aspect would have still been the barrier for me this year, Yeah.
Ben, like you're saying, you get to be around pro climbers. You saw that different thing in pro climbers where Noah like sieged, put a month in. But I'm curious what other things you noticed, because sometimes when, you're a V17 climber around a bunch of V17 climbers, you don't notice some of the things that you take for granted and put into your practice. And like, what have you taken and added into your climbing from some of these crushers that you've been spending time with?
That's also a good question. Let me think. I mean,
you're like gummy bears. You're like, they all seem to eat like candy. Yeah.
It's different for all of them. I mean, I guess that's a thing that I've noticed, like, especially getting to actually climb with them. Like, I guess who have I climbed with who climbs? Noah and Hamish and Colin definitely could climb V17, and Daniel climb V17. Adam,
Nathaniel,
super strong. Nathaniel.
Yeah, who haven't you climbed with? Come on, dude.
Yeah, I guess all the American. But they all have their own, their different thing, like unique styles of climbing. And I think that, like, okay, number one would definitely be the mental fortitude. I think is the biggest difference with all of them. And like Hamish has his way of expressing it, and Daniel also doesn't express it like Hamish, but has the mental fortitude clearly. I would say all of them. Yeah, Hamish is the best at it, but like Noah was saying, like there's a big, especially when I climb with them, a lot of times I can do moves, I can do a lot of hard moves on the hardest climbs. And at first it's like, oh my God, like I can do it. You know, I can climb V17. But the real big difference is like, is the execution, and it's doing a move and not just like doing it, but like really internalizing what you did. And I've noticed with all of those climbers, Nathaniel and Hamish, especially maybe, like when they do a move, like maybe they do it and it takes them a while to do the move, but they learn every time they try it, they just learn something new until the move is just easy. And that is something that I just don't have. And I think a lot of other climbers at my level, like, or, you know, V14, V15 climbers, like don't have that. Especially when you look at the nature of the V17s that are currently up, a lot of them, it's like the hardest move you need to do is on, other than burden, I'd say, is on like even defying gravity, like the stands of V15, you know. And the hardest move you can do is very hard, but it's on a V15. You know, Sleepwalker, the hardest move is like V11, maybe. Like one move V11, which is hard, but like so many people can do that. So the real difference is in the mental learning and connecting of moves, which is like really what separates, especially people who climb even harder than V17, like Hamish. Like I mean, we know him very well, and I like Noah is really good at doing hard moves as well. Like I don't really know a move Noah's tried that he hasn't done ever. So like the step to make is just about connecting. It's just mental. It's about learning.
Dude, climbing with Hamish was the
what I
most like insightful experience I've ever had rock climbing, because what he like the way that he like the most obvious way that in which like that makes him so good is like just like execution. And it's like so, I mean, it's very hard to learn, but it's something that's like pretty, you can train it, you know, you can learn it. It just like he should have like showed me like a way to improve and like how much I could improve that, because I'm so much worse at that than him, you know. It's really, it was really great.
Oh, one more thing that they all do, like super, and it's kind of cliche, but definitely you don't have to, like when we talk about how good these climbers are, like you don't have to be that good every day. Like I've seen all of them show up to a day and be like, you know what, like I drank too much, or I didn't sleep enough, or I'm feeling a little sick, and like not try their hardest, you know, which is kind of a hard thing to do sometimes. Like I think I even do that, where I try my hardest every day, even if I'm not feeling good. And I think it definitely hurts me, and it's a way to get injured. Like I think it's okay to be like, you know what, I don't feel good today, I'm going to take it easy, or not climb at all. And I think I've seen all of them do that. Every V17 climber I've climbed with.
The idea of linking hard moves always got me too, where when I'd climb with people who maybe they were only V16, they weren't V17 strong, I'd be like, dude, I can do this move. Like I can do this. And then the concept of linking a move into it, like I would just fall apart. Like when everything was right, I could do that move when I was fresh. And there's also, I mean, clearly strength is a issue, but something about connecting hard moves into one another, keeping that tension, keeping that momentum, understanding how to move from like a position that's really difficult into a new position. It's very different, or at least for me, I usually am good at just showing up for one hard move, but that's not what climbing is. All right, well, maybe there's a few climbs like that, but rarely.
Yeah, no, me too. I feel like it's annoying. I can do so many moves and so little climbs.
No, I got asked, is it true what Ben said, where there's never been a move that you haven't been able to do?
I was just thinking, what is it, Noah? Is there a move?
A move I've never been able to do? Well, I went to Megatron one session with Hamish, and I couldn't do the crux move on that. We didn't try for very long, but yeah, I couldn't do that move. I think I could, but I didn't. So
on that note of execution and climbing things that are really hard, you just said like, I didn't do that move, I could probably do that move. When you guys are out trying, V15 and up, and you're trying to send that day, of course you're trying to send it quick. Like how often, if doing a move, there's like all these different levels of doing a move. There's like, I've done this move 10 times. I have it perfectly dialed. I've done this move once. I know it goes, but it's hard. And then you start even getting into this thing where you're like, I didn't do that move, but I know I can do it. And then there's like further down the spectrum where it's like, oh dude, like I might be able to snatch that. But I don't know about you, but I've done some of my hardest climbs without doing the crux move in ISO because I was like, oh, I just know I can do this. Like I know it goes. I'm wondering like, when you're in that like V16, V17 range and you're trying to put something together, like do you always have every move dialed or do you just have ones that you're kind of like, oh, like I know it goes. I don't really want to refine it because you only have so much strength. I just feel like, doing V13s over and over again to get dialed, like maybe isn't always the best use of your ability when you have, only so many hours to burn.
Yeah, honestly, I think personally I focus too much on dialing individual sections because I mean usually when I am trying a 16 or a 17 I'll have like every move pretty high percentage in ISO, but like when I climb with Hamish, like he'll do a move like once he does a move once even he'll like start trying from the bottom, and I think having more faith that you can do the move in link, and also when you start trying from the bottom you're training that move in link, which is beneficial in itself. I think that's like a good thing to train, and I think I could actually work on that. Just like having faith in doing a move in link.
That is, Hamish loves to go from the bottom.
Yeah.
He like way quicker than anyone else. He literally just starts pulling on from the bottom. He'll like give a flash go, and if he doesn't flash, he just pulls on from the bottom again. It's like, wow. it's sick.
Well, I definitely saw some of that execution at Board Lords, and it was so interesting seeing Hamish being this comp climbing executor, Sean being this board lord to the T. Like that is a good name for what Sean is. And then that style of like really being, I don't know, like a lot more feet cutting, right? Like a lot more like, cause I mean, let's face it, like the holds on boards are usually pretty good. They're your feet can cut, and that's not exactly how Hamish climbs. Like that's not exactly comp climbing unless you're doing like a crazy Cordo run and jump. And then you're like somewhere in the middle, Noah. And it was like, you guys were all climbed it very differently. And I was surprised how different everyone's beta was. And then also when it came time to execute, like actually felt like Sean was good at executing. It was just, he had kind of lower percentage, like the way that he would climb things were often less feet on. I feel like that's inherently lower percentage.
Yeah, for sure.
We filmed a video with Sean yesterday.
We did on the spray board.
On the TB2.
Yeah, TB2 spray board. Yeah, because he only climbs on the mirror. Otherwise.
Yeah.
Dude, you guys, right before this, I sent you a video of me doing the Prince. And it was just crickets.
Yeah,
You guys didn't even, I was like, does this mean they think it's soft? Like, does this mean that they think it's not that good of a climb? Cause Noah, you set that thing.
Yeah, I did. No, nice job. I must have just been preoccupied or something.
I meant to respond for sure. I watched the video.
You like,
no, I'm super happy that you did it.
Your comment was like one of my favorite sets on the TV. I was very proud of myself. And I was like, these guys just,
Noah.
Noah
just doesn't care. He hates.
I'm bad at engaging. But
he doesn't care.
No, I'm psyched that you did it. You did the. I watched the video, but I forget. Did you like do the hand foot match?
I did the hand foot match.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way.
Yeah.
You want to know my favorite trope in climbing media?
Yes, please.
It's you. What do you mean? Oh no!
I thought you
gonna. You and Quinn Spatafora are like both like hosts of some sort. Like Detention Channel has a lot of pro climbers on, and they climb with them, and you interview a lot of pro climbers, and I'm sure it applies to other like media hosts, but like I like that you're improving so much in climbing, you know what I mean? Like you interview all these people, and you're always like, you play the role of like, these guys are really strong, like I ask about their climbing, and all that. And same with Quinn, he does the same thing, but like you two are both improving like so well, and like maybe I hope it's partly through like all these interviews. And like it's sick to see like how, you know what I mean? Like you're a great climber yourself, and you're an inspiration to people through your climbing as well. Like,
that's so true.
And same with Quinn.
Thanks, man.
It's awesome.
That's why I wanted to. What I say on the board lords. I don't know if this made it to the video, but I was like, put me in, coach. Like, I want on. I actually made a joke on my comment on that thing because the Prince is 13. And I was like, am I the oldest person in the world to do a confirmed V13 on
I think
the
you
board?
might be. That's very impressive, actually.
Yeah, because Ben, I got bad news. I'm not improving. I just used to be that good. And I'm just trying to maintain. Actually, that's not true.
I think you're improving.
You know, talking to all these people and what I hear from guys like, you know, just that are climbing V6, actually doesn't matter. Guys, people that are at the top of their game, what I keep realizing again and again and again is that I focus too much on what I love and not enough on all the subtleties that you need to climb at the very best level. So like, I don't love conditions. Like, I don't love like dealing with conditions. I don't love finding like the most subtle nuance. Like, oh, I need to hold this crystal just like this. What I like is I like pulling on and trying really hard. And you'll see like, that's like boards often. It's like conditions are always okay. You kind of just like go and jump and then try really hard when you latch. I'm kind of dumbing it down, you know, because I'm using it as an analogy, but just to climb the hardest stuff in the world, everything has to be right. And so I'm now embracing more where I talk to guys like Noah and I'm just like, oh no, well, your fingers are just strong. It's like, yeah, of course you're strong. But then it's like I lock myself in a dark room for a month and, you know, worry about that one move. But just that really is something that I've been trying to apply more and more is that, and Hamish is a good example where people are like, oh, I don't like this caption. It's like, well, then you don't like climbing hard because that's what it really
straight up.
Yeah.
Have you done a podcast? Have you been interviewed on a podcast?
No. I mean, sometimes Tim interviews me. I feel like,
yeah. That's true. I like, especially like people like you and like, I'm sure like the other podcasters climbing, like you have more climbing information and like talking to like the best climbers in the world than like most people, you know, and it's a lot of information.
You should do a wheel rock sometime, and we can interview you during the wheel rock.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, you guys need to start a podcast.
We do Q&As.
Well, you know what's so funny is that when Ben, you were saying you're like, I'm a student of the climbing media. Like I grew up watching all the YouTubes, and when we were in the tension center, you're like, dude, you're like a celebrity climbing person. I'm like, no, dude, look at Hamish, and you know, like we were just surrounded by people.
Yeah.
And it is an interesting small world where, you know, if you stick around climbing enough, you get to be around some of the best. And if you have an open mind and if you're just nice and generous, you get to like meet the heroes. You get to, I mean, I'm not saying I'm a hero, but I thought it was funny when you were like, oh dude, you're a media personality now.
I was starstruck when I saw you in person. You've got an energy. You've got
aura. It's got aura for sure.
Yeah. You were fit, Josh. To anyone listening, this man's
strong
got
dad
fits.
aura.
This man's fly as hell.
Strong down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always strange to go out there and get recognized, and it does put a weird pressure on you about climbing hard. And I do feel like, I think it's why we all like mellow too, or things like wheel rock, where you know that the people behind the scenes are so incredible. And then sometimes, and I don't want to name names, but you see other things that come out, and you're like, do you really actually climb? Because that thing you're talking about doesn't really seem like you've thought this through. And yeah, I just appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone who puts out content when it's like, oh, there's a deep well of knowledge and love, and it comes through when you guys do put out stuff.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll join the Patreon. I'm signing up.
Yeah. No, but my biggest goal with all of our videos, when we have other people, even when we don't, like, I like to like, I think most of the like very strong or pro climbers that we've made videos with, we like actually are friends with, you know, even outside of climbing, like talk to and all that. And like, I think it's hard for those guys sometimes when they have to make media with, you know, they're required to by a thing or like do an interview. It can be like awkward, you know, and they don't feel like they can be themselves or represent their climbing well. So like always our number one goal, I just want them to be comfortable because all these guys are so nice and so awesome. And like, that's what I want to come through in our videos, like how chill all the pro climbers.
We were saying
are,
like
yeah.
I feel like we pro climbers look good in our videos because they're like actually being their true selves, you know, like they're not being like, you know, filtered in some sort of way.
Well, what's cool too is when you guys talk to each other, talk about each other, when you really climb with someone and you also really know climbing, you can pick out stuff that others don't. And you might sometimes say it to your buddy while you're climbing next to them, but somehow like, you know, making a moment, whether it's a podcast or a video where you have the opportunity to, you know, say nice things about your brother. It gives you a chance to come out because it's fun to put on that kind of thinking cap and be like, what does make Hamish special? And it's like,
Yeah.
let me tell you, like, and I know because I climb next to him. And it's those things that you see and feel after being with someone for hours and watching them through their ups and downs. And you see something really special and you're like, ooh, that's what makes you, well, that's what makes you great, you know?
Yeah.
So I felt like I segued pretty good. Gonna ask you guys my classic question. I know you guys answered it last time. Feel free to make up something brand new or reiterate. You probably don't even remember what you said, but you know, this idea of how you go from good to great changes throughout time. And it's because I feel like every time you level up, you have a new barrier. And that occurs whether you're a V5 climber or a V15 climber, like there's always something new that you had to bust through or that you have sitting in front of you. So I'll start with you, Ben. How do you go from good to great?
Well, I guess you said, which was very nice, that I sounded patient. And I think talking to a lot of the other pro climbers, I'll say patience in that, like, I think everyone in the climbing community knows someone who was an extremely talented climber from a young age. Like, wow, this person's so much better than me. Like, they're so strong naturally, you know? And I know a lot of people who were like that, who just stopped climbing because something went wrong. You know, they got injured, they did bad at a comp, you know, things like that. And I get that. It's fine to stop climbing. There's more to life. But when we're talking about going from a good climber to a great climber, you got to keep climbing. And outside of, you know, quitting climbing is an extreme example, but like patience with everything, I think, has been like the biggest thing I've seen in everyone, because every climber goes through ups and downs. And especially me personally, I like unrelated, I can't even point to specific things, but I just go through like up months and down months, you know, where I'm just weak or a little weaker than normal, or I'm a little stronger than normal. And like I definitely think like, damn, like this sucks, like I don't want to climb right now, I just feel bad. But being patient and trusting that you know, things will work out, and also being patient with, there's patience in every aspect, like Noah in his windowless room, you know, that's patience. Or Hamish like Hamish not doing the boulder, not doing the second tension boulder and then going back later, you know, that's being patient with the boulder and not giving up.
That's
So I'd say that with all of it. And even on a bigger scale, like Daniel's been climbing forever and he's been at the top of the game forever. Like, to the patience that it would take for him to like wait, and like I'm sure his ups and downs have been years, you know, when you've been climbing that long, and it's like he just keeps going, and he just, it works, you know. So I would say, yeah, just being patient with yourself, giving yourself you can make excuses for yourself, just being nice to yourself about your climbing, because it's hard, you know.
Dude, totally agree. Kind of crazy to hear that from an 20-year-old. Very wise words. I feel like that's not something I knew about until recently. And yeah, good one. It made me think, actually, when you said something about Hamish, it made me think of that thing that Brooke said to him before he went out to Megatron. I don't know if you guys remember that, but
yeah, that stuck with me actually. It was about like reorienting your disposition towards waiting and sort of embracing like anxiety, I guess, sort of that you have towards climbing, you know, and like seeing that as a good thing rather than like a bad thing.
Yeah,
That was wonderful.
I would say that it's also like, I think that it's a big difference between, like, when you look at good and you look at great, like there are always people and kids, young people who are coming up in this sport, and you're like, damn, like they did this shit in like 2 hours, or they did this in like 3 days, and it's like, and that's the thing that happens like when everyone's young and coming up in the sport. It's like, wow, you're doing things quick and you feel strong. But when you look at like, I mean, maybe this is a high bar for great, but like when I look at great, you know, these are like the select, like these are the top of the sport, and all of them have some incredible feat of patience, you know? Like that's just what it takes. I don't think you can go through a whole climbing career and become great without experiencing a little bit of like, I want to give up, or I'm annoyed by this, or it's taking longer than I want it to, you know? Like, I don't think you can go through your whole career and just do every boulder in a day and become great, you know? Like, what makes people great is those feats that you're like, wow, that person that it was hard for them, and it was mentally hard for them, you know?
Oh, good stuff, man. Noah, how you go from good to great?
You're wise beyond your years, then.
Thank you, Noah.
You're welcome. Okay. I guess when you treat yourself as like a patient or a subject for like training information, right? Don't treat yourself like a box that just is to be filled with this new information or whatever is trendy at the time. Treat yourself as what you are, which is like someone who has like these certain strengths and weaknesses, and who absorbs certain advice better than other advice, and responds to certain things and doesn't respond to other things. That is to say, like go into training like really knowing who you are and what you respond to, and I think that's actually the most important possible thing or disposition you could have towards training for rock climbing, which is you're like yourself, like taking yourself first above all, and then absorbing all information relative to like the context of yourself. And that's what the reason you'll hear pros talk about how they all have different strengths, and they're all so good in their specific styles, and like there's no one style that makes pros so good, or one like advice. And the reason for that is because the ultimate advice is that they absorbed information relative to themselves, and they sort of recontextualized it relative to their existing strengths and experiences. And that's, I think, the biggest possible thing you could take. Like, have faith in yourself, and like trust that the path that you feel like you've inherently set out on can take you like to the next level, you know? Like don't completely reorient yourself based on some other path someone else has taken, you know?
Damn, that one's good too. I really like that. There's something about just understanding how you react to training and training information, and how to like almost trick yourself into getting the most out of whatever the training is. Like you can't, like, not everyone can just be given some training plan and they follow it to a T. It might be, you have to reward yourself with like, yeah, I don't know, a coffee or something, whatever the case. There's that. And then there's like, when you go up to climb, like embracing your own way through it, because sometimes I get sucked into other people's beta. And then there's just like deciding what you want to climb on and the journey you're on. And like, you know, you might be like, oh, maybe I should do a bunch of font slabs. But then if you spend the next 10 years trying to master this thing you don't even care about, you don't even love, like, is that really going to help you on your journey? And just there's like a bunch of levels on that, dude. That's cool. Good one, Noah.
I like that the font slab stuff. Everyone hates font.
I was just there and got my ass kicked. Yeah, it was, dude. They are really fun. I mean, with that said, too, like something that's really interesting about exposing yourself to these different styles is if you're a climber and if you're an athlete, like it's hard, and then it just gets easier every try. And it's like really encouraging and fun. And you start going like, oh yeah, like it is a V9. Yeah. And you go, yeah.
One of my favorite days ever, it was at Horse Pens. And I started off on Bumboy.
Dude. Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't flash it. And I was like, this is V1, damn. And eventually I did it. And then I moved over to the V3 or whatever. And then I couldn't do it at all. And then eventually I did it. And then the V4, and I couldn't do it at all. And then I eventually did it. And it took forever. But like, and then I repeated all of them without falling. And I was like, oh my God, like this brings me back to when I first started climbing and I could learn a whole new skill. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I still have skills to learn, and I'm climbing. I've been climbing, you know, a long time, 12 years or something. So it's like, it's sick. We're always students.
Always students. Okay. Except for Noah, who just graduated. Good stuff, you guys. That was super fun. I'm going to go lock myself in a windowless room, go
In Vegas,
videos, guys.
in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
of all places.
dude, there's some weird things going on windowless rooms in Vegas.
Yeah, I have some theories about that.
yeah.
What that means.
Congrats on a successful year for all you guys doing wheel rock, making dozens of dollars, climbing hard climbs, and yeah, really good to see you guys. And I hope we get another one on the books before a year goes by. But if not, looking forward to that. Yeah,
the yearly
lots has happened in a year. To you guys, to me, to climbing as a whole, and yeah, just excited for the future, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like even more content, go to patreon.com/testpiece. And while you're at it, share this podcast with someone you know who would love it. And please leave us a review or rating at wherever you get your podcasts. We've also got tons of great content on YouTube and Instagram, so don't forget to like and subscribe there. Okay, see you next week.